Welcome to this barista training tutorial with Moon Roast Coffee. Footnote: this is just a guide. We recommend that all of our partners undergo training at our roastery, where you can get an in-depth understanding of the coffee life cycle and hands-on barista training. Let's get to it. The first, and possibly the most important area, is dialing in. Concept. Dialing in is really important and can be really easy when you break it down. Let's simplify the concept. Think about making a cup of tea and how long we keep the tea bag in and how important that is to the taste of our tea. You wouldn't just take that tea bag straight out, would you? Equally, you wouldn't leave the tea bag in. Well, I mean, some of you might. But that perfect cuppa is all about the amount of time the tea bag has to brew. Coffee is the same. Only with coffee, under-extracting and over-extracting result in some pretty unsavoury flavours. If our coffee was to pour through really fast, allowing for not much brew time, we would have a very sour and stringent tasting coffee. If the coffee was to drip through, and therefore over-brew, the coffee would be tasting burnt and bitter. So, that brew time is really important. So how do we control that? The speed of extraction and the amount of contact time comes down to the size of the particles of ground coffee and how easily the water can pass through it. The bigger the particles, the more space between them, and the faster the water can travel through them. The smaller the particles, and the more sand-like they are, the harder the water has to work to travel through, meaning a longer extraction. So, we use our grinder to control the size of these grinds and to achieve an extraction time where our coffee tastes at its best. The recipe. When we dial in a grinder, we follow a recipe. This is a set of amounts of coffee in and coffee out, usually in grams, with a time frame, usually in seconds. The guys at our roastery will have tried and tested this, summarising that these times and amounts produce the best tasting espresso, and then all we have to do is follow it. A standard recipe that we're going to work to today might be 18 grams in, 36 grams out, in a time frame of 28 to 32 seconds. So let's talk about how we're going to dial in. Let's start by tearing off the group handle. Then, manually weigh 18 grams of ground coffee. To free grind, press the double shot button, and then press it again to cancel once you have dosed enough. Check the amount and adjust by either taking some away or adding more, using the technique just mentioned. Then, we're going to tamp. Whoa. Hold on 1 second. Let's look at that a little bit closer. Once you have dosed your double shot, use your other hand to level the ground coffee. Place the flat edge of the group handle onto the side of the counter. Turn your body so you are sideways to the countertop. Use your body weight, press straight down, keeping the tamper as flat as you can. Making sure that the tamper is flat is really important so that the extraction is consistent. A group head releases water at pressure in the form of a shower head, meaning that water will disperse in several areas of your coffee. Ensuring that each side of your coffee is level, therefore, is very important to the taste. Finally, use your hand to wipe off any loose grinds before inserting the group handle into the machine. Now that we've covered how to tamp, you can insert the group handle and press the double shot button. Most of the time, the double shot button should already be set to a volume of 36 grams. If you don't already have a shot timer built into your espresso machine, using a stopwatch, time how long it takes for the espresso to finish pouring. If it stops before 28 seconds, it has extracted too fast and the particles are too big. Adjust the grinder by turning the key towards the minus sign to make it finer. This may take a few turns before the grind adjusts, so keep an eye on the number on the front of the screen as it gets smaller. If the shot ran longer than 32 seconds, the extraction was too slow and the particles are too small. Adjust the grinder by turning the key towards the plus sign to make it coarser. This may take a few turns before the grind adjusts, so keep an eye on the number on the front of the screen as it gets bigger. Adjust the grind by turning the key finer or coarser as many times as you need until the coffee runs in our time frame. But don't forget to manually weigh 18 grams after every adjustment when you are checking the extraction. After you have finished your adjustments and are certain that 18 grams is extracting within our time frame, we can set the double shot button to give us 18 grams every time. To do this, press and hold the plus button above the double shot button. After several seconds, it'll flash and a time frame will show on the screen. This is the dose time in seconds. You can then use the plus or minus button to increase or decrease the time so that it can dose 18 grams every time. You might need to adjust and check a few times before you reach 18 grams. Then to set it and exit the setup, press the double shot button. We recommend dialing in every morning and once again in the middle of the day. Let's move on to steaming milk. The concept. This is what we call stretching the milk. What we want to do is subtly and smoothly introduce small amounts of air into the milk so that it becomes creamier and sweeter. The amount of air that we add is what distinguishes the different drinks from one another. For example, a flat white should have 1 centimetre of microfoam, whereas a cappuccino would have 2 to 3 centimetres. A latte would have the same amount of foam as a flat white, just in a bigger cup, and therefore more milk. The how. The steam wand pushes out steam from around 3 to 4 jets at the bottom. If those jets are submerged into the milk, it's not possible for us to introduce any air. We can only heat the milk. It is only possible when we expose those jets at the surface of the milk so that it begins to stretch the milk. The more we expose those jets, the faster and the harsher the air will be introduced. So we want to be able to control this to smoothly stretch the milk. The easiest way to do this is to start with the wand fully submerged. Then turn on the steam wand. Slowly and carefully then lower the jug, holding on with both hands. It's useful here to imagine a clutch on a car. We are slowly and surely looking for that biting point. When the wand begins to create a subtle paper tearing sound, this is where we want to hold the jug and gently allow in our desired amount of foam. Placing the wand to the side of the jug will create a swirling motion, allowing the foam that you're developing to mix throughout the milk and smooth out any bubbles. Once the milk is stretched, either by 1 centimetre or by 2 to 3, we then raise the jug up so that the jets can no longer stretch the milk, only heat it. Using the hand that isn't holding the jug as a temperature gauge, turn the wand off immediately at the point where you can no longer touch the jug for more than 2 seconds. Anything beyond this point will be burning the milk, resulting in a bad taste. It will also break down the foam structure that we have just created. Pouring. When you pour, you want to carefully and softly mix the milk within the espresso shot. The easiest way to do that is to pour small circles at a height. This will make all the milk dive underneath the coffee and leave you with a blank canvas, ready for you to pour your art. Pouring a heart. Once you have filled your cup 2/3 of the way, allowing the milk to dive under the espresso, it's time to start pouring your design. Bring the milk jug close to the cup. Tilt the cup back. At the same time, move the milk jug right above the surface of the espresso, as close as you can get until a white blob emerges. A little wiggle always helps to get this going. You should then see some of the white microfoam appear in the centre of the espresso. Keep pouring right into it. You should get a large white circle. When you've almost filled the cup, tilt your jug up and pour the milk through the white circle towards the other side of the cup from a high position. This pulls the milk through the circle to create the heart shape. Let's take a little closer look at each drink on our menu. The double espresso. Here you can see a good clean crema. This is a sign of a good extraction. The macchiato. This is a double espresso shot with a spoonful of smooth creamy cappuccino style milk right in the centre. The flat white. Here we have a double shot base followed by steamed milk with 1 centimetre of microfoam. Usually we would serve these in a 6-ounce cup. Latte. Here we have a double shot base followed by steamed milk with 1 centimetre of microfoam. This would usually be served in an 8-ounce cup. Cappuccino. Here we have a double shot base followed by 2 to 3 centimetres of microfoam. As always, smooth and creamy. This would usually be served in an 8-ounce cup. Mocha. Again, we have a double shot base. Then we want to add steamed chocolate milk. For our Venezuelan flake chocolate, we'll add 33 grams of flakes to the cold milk, then steam like a latte. Americano. Start by filling 2/3 of your cup with boiling water, then add a double shot to the top. Adding the shot at the end will ensure that we have a nice crema. Finally, let's take a look at how we clean the espresso machine. Maintaining and cleaning your machine and grinder is extremely important, not just for the health of the machines themselves, but for the taste of the coffee. Start with general tidying, wiping surfaces, cleaning coffee grinds. We need to make sure that the group heads are thoroughly cleaned. Here we have rubber caps. You may have a blanking disc that fits straight into your group handle. The concept is the same. We are blocking off the spout so that the pressurized water from the group head is rebounded back into the internal system to clean it. Each night, place a 5p size amount of cleaning powder into the basket with your blanking disc. Place it back into the group head and set your cleaning function to begin. This will vary upon machine manufacturers, but here's how we'd set it on our Famer. If you're unsure how to set a cleaning cycle on your machine, you can do it manually. Use the free throw button and purge for 5 seconds. Aim for 10 times each side, stopping after the 5 seconds and starting again. After 5 rounds of 5 seconds, empty the baskets of remaining powder and continue again with 5 more rounds of 5 seconds. And that's your machine clean and ready to go for the next day. I hope you've enjoyed this training video and found it useful. We look forward to seeing you soon at the roastery.